Welcome back to another Castlevania diary. This series has been going so long, if I had a kid when I started, they'd be 18 months old today.
HJ Review.
Man, it's been a while since the last one. It's been quite a grind getting through this game with the holiday season, but Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, the final Metroidvania in the Castlevania journey, and it did not disappoint. This is a fantastic game. It's a great game. All of the Castlevania, like, I understand the Vania of Metroidvanias now, because Castlevania they were onto something. Like they had polished this Game Boy Advance trilogy into the DS trilogy, with each one offering something new, offering something better. And I was warned Order of Ecclesia would just like make me grind my teeth and turn my thumbs blue or white, or I don't know the expression. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was not what I had imagined, because I have been through some very deep bullshit in my Castlevania journey. We're over 20 entries in, and I have done some stuff I'd never want to do again. So when I was told Order of Ecclesia is the hardest one, I was just like, oh man, this is going to be balls to the walls hard. And I made it through it. I finished at around level 35, which is a very strange level to finish. Like all these Castlevania games, I know I'm someone that goes through this kind of quick, but 10 hours, level 35 seems to always be kind of my consistent pace. And I just feel, level 50 to 60 is more of a range that I would like to see games with a level system end. So little criticism there. But in the Order of Ecclesia, without getting big into the lore, we're basically hundreds of years after the Belmont line has kind of disappeared, and it's wedged before all of the other stuff like Portrait of Ruin and all that. So we're in a nice new little area, and we get introduced to the Order of Ecclesia, which is an order that you can see a lot of inspiration was taken from to do the game Bloodstained, because it's all about absorbing. It's not quite, it's glyphs instead of shards. So if you've played Bloodstained, you've got all these tattoos which let you like absorb glyph or shards. In Order of Ecclesia, you play as a woman who's got these tattoos and absorbs glyphs. It's a similar concept that I think they expanded on in Bloodstained. That's another thing. You actually get to play as a woman as the main character. I don't think there's any other Castlevania game where your only choice is a woman. Like, it's not man or woman, it's woman. And I forget her name, but she's a badass and I love her. Lots of good stuff in this game. So I really like the whole glyph system to one point, but what I like more is the fact that you've kind of got a left-handed weapon and a right-handed weapon. So you can do like an axe and like an energy ball, or you can do 2 axes, and then that basically uses your MP and it recharges when you stop spamming buttons. At first, like doing this, going back and forth on 2 buttons to like do right, left, felt really weird, but by the end of it, and maybe it's because of the combo I had, which were the 2 light energy balls, the timing was just very natural, and I was able to maneuver. So in terms of the difficulty, and I'm just bouncing all over around, this is what happens when I don't have my notepad. It was very smooth. It was very nice. It was a challenge. It wasn't overly easy, but it wasn't overly hard either. I'd say it only got super hard when I got into Dracula's castle, did a little bit of grinding, started experimenting more with my different weapons, and that's key here. You can't just grab one weapon and off you go. And I feel this is a common theme here, is I'm not very big on experimenting. I like to find one thing that works and just roll with it. This game, you can only get so far, and then I have to learn, oh, this creature is weak against this glyph, let's use this. And once you start getting your setups going, it's fine. So in this game, you can actually have 3 setups that you can easily rotate through, which I really enjoyed. I never felt like I got stuck in the sense like most Metroidvanias, there's always that period where you're just spending an hour or two just being lost. In this game, it's very straightforward. I like how you kind of have like a world map and you go to different sections, and that's half the game. And then later on, when you actually get access to Dracula's castle, it's like a whole other game. They're just like, oh yeah, all those old Castlevania games you played? Here you go, you got a massive castle to explore, which is going to take you just as long as it took to do all these other little areas. There's also a little town that you can visit, and there you can shop, which the shop becomes very useless quite quickly after you buy all your gear, because they never sell better potions. And if they do, maybe it's a side quest I didn't finish. I did quite a few side quests, but the guy would only sell me potions, which would only give me 50 HP when I'm dealing with like 500 to 600 HP on my health bar. 50 HP doesn't get you very far. So didn't like that. Love the side quest. So as you're going through all these different regions, you are saving townspeople, which is another aspect I absolutely love. I love like having a hub world and just kind of filling it with life as you unlock things. That mechanic, love it. And then as the townspeople come back to the town, they then do quests and then they give you some better items, which is a nice way to get more mileage out of this game, but also have like fun little distractions when you don't just want to chase the bad guy. In terms of the bad guy, it's kind of the same setup as usual. You're trying to stop Dracula from potentially happening, but then someone gets possessed, and then, you know, your ally gets possessed, and then they end up wanting Dracula back, and then they realize they were bad because you killed them. And they're like, oh no, we actually have to stop Dracula, but then because what they did, Dracula's coming back, and now you gotta go fight Dracula. It's kind of a trope at this point that you see in a lot of games. It's also in Zelda, it's always the same thing. That's not true. Your ally doesn't convert in Zelda, but there's always that minion that it ends up resurrecting Ganon, and here we go all over again. But I'm fine with it. Tropes are good sometimes. That's why they're tropes. The good ones, that's why there are good tropes and bad tropes. The music is killer. It's the same as every other Castlevania. Like just get that entire Castlevania library except for Harmony of Dissonance, and you can listen to that all the time. Like the music is really good. So the story's good, the music's good, difficulty's good. There was they had these optional dungeons, so I accidentally stumbled through it, that's not true. A viewer guided me to it, which unlocks 2 additional dungeons. I don't do those. I try and I die in the first scene. So in all my Castlevania playthroughs, I don't do that additional difficulty run. And also when you finish the game, you unlock hard mode, which is now customary. I don't touch that. I'm very happy with the regular difficulty. So that's there. Post-game content, there's always post-game content. In this one, you play as a guy who has a gun and some gun abilities, which are really cool to play as. I always love playing as the post-game unlockable characters because they just feel OP, they feel very different, and it just feels like you're just running through everything pretty quickly. So I'm really curious to kind of go back to some of these Castlevania Metroidvanias and just do post-game content runs, just to actually make it to Dracula and see what is that experience of playing as the post-game hit unlock character. Maybe we'll do a diary on just the post-game character aspect. This diary series is never going to die. It's just going to keep going. So that is pretty much everything that kind of inspired me to talk about this game. I'm actually very happy that I'm done with the DS, 3DS lineup. I played all these on the new 3DS XL. I don't like playing on that device. It's so old. It just feels, I don't like handheld. I don't play my Switch in handheld either. So I would love these games to come back somehow on the Switch or something. They're not really dependent on that second screen. The second screen pretty much acts as a menu that you could prompt with a plus or a start menu. So I would love to see this collection, specifically the Game Boy Advance collection and the DS collection, being made available on modern consoles, just like what they did with the original Castlevania Anniversary Collection. They are fantastic games. You could sell it for way more. Like you could sell, I think, the 3 Game Boy Advance collection for easily $40, and you get all those 3, and then you get the 3DS for maybe another $40, or you put all 6 games together and you can sell that full price at $60. I would buy that again, and I think a lot of people would. So fantastic. Where do we go from here now that we've kind of reached the end of the Castlevania lore? Well, we still have, I think, a fighting game called Judgment, if I recall, that came out on the Wii. We have to play that. There's a few spin-offs to play, and of course, there is the Lord of Shadow series, which has, I believe, 3 games to play. So those are the next ones we'll be playing on this journey through Castlevania. And thanks again for joining. I'll see you on the next Castlevania Diary, and until then, keep it classy.